me and Abby, we always wanted to do like content stuff, but we've just never really been good at it. But what we're good at is just, I guess, speaking. So we figured we can try and start a podcast because that requires minimal edits. It's just natural, it's conversational, and it's also a good way, I guess, to, well, we all have different issues and challenges and stuff that we face. So I thought that, maybe we can give a platform for everyone to speak about stuff, speak about their company, and just kind of share, not just for aspiring founders, but for current founders as well. Um,
Yeah,
how the
that's cool.
process is like, and yeah, and then maybe also support the whole tech ecosystem here in Calgary.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Yeah. I always thought it was like that there's not enough founders that share their journey. Like, it's usually them looking back after becoming successful. And it's like, yeah, but what's it really like when you're looking forward and you're, you know, not certain of success?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the excitement of starting up is done, right? And you don't know the end line, so it's the messy mess in the middle.
Yeah.
So
Messy
that's
mess.
what we want to talk about, the entire journey, and capture the journey while it's on, not as you said, not while looking back at it.
yeah,
Yeah. Cool.
I think a lot of people do speak about it in hindsight. Like, oh yeah, all the you hear all the success stories, but you don't hear everything that goes on behind the scenes. So,
Yeah. And I think you look back nostalgically after you've achieved success. It's like, yeah, it was really hard. And, you know, but
cool.
cool.
I guess I don't know if you started recording, but
Yeah, you,
okay, cool. Yeah, so I guess you maybe just want to start off, Alana, by no speak talking a little bit about how you got started with Fitzba, or even your early career. Like, what led you to become an entrepreneur? Have you always been an entrepreneur?
Just 1 second. I'm going to close my door. And sorry, guys. Um,
edit.
Nah, it's okay. Let's
yeah,
throw this in behind the scenes.
Yeah.
my husband's in the kitchen. He was like using the sink and stuff. I was
No
like,
worries.
we're recording a podcast, so can you be like quiet? Um, well, looking back at my childhood, I think I always was an entrepreneur at heart. I had many a lemonade stand on, at the end of my driveway on a hot summer day. Um, and during like junior high, I bought this coupon book of it was for like basketball tickets for the basketball team in our hometown, and I could buy them 2 for 1 with this coupon booklet. And so I made this deal and sold them around the school and gave people a little break, but I made a little profit. And so um, yeah, I think I've always been entrepreneurial and kind of problem solving at heart. Um, when I was so I did business, I did commerce first at St. Mary's University in Halifax. That's where I grew up. And for one of my summer jobs, I actually worked in the startup ecosystem, and that's how I kind of learned about startups and the whole tech beginning of the tech ecosystem. And yeah, just kind of fell in love with that whole sort of problem solving aspect to the end that I ended up following that with a degree in computer engineering here in Calgary, because I thought, okay, I want to do cool stuff with all of my ideas. And that led to me going to work for a startup while I was still a student. And and I was just really, really privileged to work at this like early stage avionics startup while I was still in school. And I think I was employee number 7, so very early. And I quickly moved from being a coder to being a team lead to being the director of product development. And kind of ever since then, I've worked in product leadership roles, and I just kind of can't get enough of it. I'm not industry specific. After avionics for a decade, I moved into fitness electronics, and that's where I met my business partner, my ex business partner in Fitzba, Kip, and he was the CEO of Four Eyes Electronics and a serial entrepreneur from Cochrane, and worked with him for a number of years. And then we decided to go out on our own and start Fitzba. And the way that I came to the problem for Fitzba is really roundabout. We actually started Fitzba with the idea of focusing on the clothing retail industry and the fact that there's not a standard in sizing and helping people find the correct size. But through all of our interviews and wanting to include like physical storefronts, so we interviewed a lot of owners of small shops. We quickly realized that there was just this apathy across like consumers for like the disconnection they feel with shopping online, and yet they're still bypassing the little guys to shop online because specialty retailers are invisible when we're making shopping decisions here. And so so before we ever wrote a line of code, we pivoted and changed, broadened Fitzba to be, what if we built the next Amazon, but it was sourcing all the local inventories from local shops? And what would that look like? And would people use it if there was one stop, one place to go to shop local? And so that started a pilot project in the town of Cochrane. And today we have over 50 stores on board broadcasting their data. And we're getting really great traffic. So I think we've proven like the desirability on the consumer side. And we're just poised to expand outside of Cochrane. So it's exciting. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Can you take us to the exact moment when you found that pivot, right? Okay, this is going to work, or like what was that insight that made you like broaden your idea to include everyone, like that moment?
Um, I think ethically, we always knew that we wanted to not just bypass and focus on e-commerce, but we wanted some way to include the storefronts. And a lot of our ideas were going to strengthen online shopping and hurt the in-person bricks and mortar channel. And so there was always that in the back of my mind. But I think the clarity came in, we interviewed hundreds of consumers, and a lot was about how they were shopping for clothing specifically. But in those conversations, there was just a lot of discussion about, and I didn't ask very leading questions. It was more just like, tell me about the last time you went shopping and what was good, what was bad, that kind of thing. And there was always, when somebody had shopped online, there was always this like, I don't know, this like, sigh, like they were like, and then I went on Amazon and like, I bought this because the reviews were good. And then there'd be like a disclaimer of like, if you even trust reviews anymore, like just this apathy and distrust and kind of, and yet, still choosing to go the route of making the purchase online, but feeling crappy about it. And after, I don't know, 100 interviews where just like, there was always like that sort of moment in the interview where I was like, oh. And we just looked at each other one day and we're like, I think we need to build a marketplace. And I was like, holy smokes, can we do that? That's a big undertaking. But you know what? There is no de facto alternative to Amazon today, really. There's a, the the big platforms or the big box stores do a good job of being online, but there's not like that other alternative. So why not us?
Very cool. So I know you spoke a little bit about Kip and you, I don't know, your ex partner. So
Yeah.
you don't have to talk about it if you do not want to. But what happened there? Like, what was it just different was just the differences that didn't want to make you work together, or was there? Because we both have co-founders. We've had
Yeah.
issues with our co-founders before, and it's always it's a relationship, right? I think it's a relationship where you even talk to them quite a bit more than your partner because you're working with them and you're discussing a lot of things with them on a day to day. So how was that? What made you leave? Decide that that relationship wasn't going to work out, and kind of continue with this on your own.
Yeah. Um, so Kip and I are on good terms today. Um, so
Just in
I'm
case he sees
happy
this, right?
to
I know.
happy to say that. If Kip listens to this, I hopefully won't say anything that. But no, we're good friends. Um, I think a number of things sort of transpired now that I have reflected on it as well. I mean, the number one thing that happened was that we we started the business, and he uh, unexpectedly had a bunch of family situations come up, and his family wanted to move to BC, and then there was a physical distance, and then there was health issues in the family, and it just a lot of things that took his attention away from being able to focus on the business. And we had a number of conversations where I kind of expected that he would want to uh, maybe change his mind, or and I had a couple of heart to hearts where I said, I understand, like, things have changed, and he but he still was interested and wanted to, like, be involved, and that was the hardest part, was at the end of the day, I got to, you know we sort of I waited for him to be available to put, full-time focus on the business. And that day really never came, until the day came where we're going to raise money. And I couldn't, in good conscience, go to my friends and family and ask them to invest in my business when, almost 50% of the equity in the business was a silent partner, that it wasn't my house wasn't clean. And so yeah, we had to have a difficult heart to heart, and it ended with me, or several difficult heart to hearts that ended with me buying Cape Out. And at the time it was difficult, but since then we've met a couple times and had coffee, and all is good. It the one thing that I would say in reflection, and for, like, you guys with co-founders now, and I also am open to a future co-founder or partner, and so something that I'll consider a lot more seriously, is because Kip was a more experienced entrepreneur and had been a CEO of startups previous, had successful exits. Um, I deferred a lot of the I deferred some of the decisions about, for example, not having a shareholders agreement, to his experience, and I should have done my own due diligence, and I should have pushed for, like, a shareholder agreement, that describe the terms of what the separation would have looked like. Um, because those difficult conversations were not fun because we hadn't done
Yeah.
that work up front.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Even when I was first starting out, it was hard to, I guess, completely understand what, like, yeah, that's at the start. It's just two people trying to do something, and no one's really making money or trying to do this seriously. They don't really have a lot of safety nets in place. And then when you start researching and trying to learn about all the different kinds of agreements, like Abby actually was the one told me about the, was it the cliff and knife and cliff,
Yeah.
where you kind of
Well, yeah.
vest your shares instead of just giving it all at the start. So you got to work for the business before you get your full equity that you are owed. So yeah, it's definitely something that I guess a lot of people do not think about when they start off. But if you have a goal, if you have a dream of building something, it should be, it's equally as important as the product or
Yeah.
the customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The number one reason for startups to fail very early is conflict between co-founders. And when there is no paperwork in between, like it's then, yeah. So I think, yeah, you should, anyone who wants to start up and has have a co-founder, they should really do paperwork, even if it's a basic shareholder agreement, but they should really do that to avoid conflicts in the near future. Because I've been in startups for the last 8 years, and I've seen startups fall, like good ideas fall apart because the co-founders could not be on the same page. Yeah, and just because they did not have any agreement in between them, everyone felt that their idea, their voice is the greater one, and that led to a lot of problems, issues, and yeah, the company had to shut down. So
And Alana, I know you mentioned you raised money, and so have you successfully raised that money, or are you still bootstrapped? At least did you start off being bootstrapped and then you got funds or grants, or how did that go?
Yeah, so started off self-funded, bootstrapped, applied for the Alberta Innovates Digital Traction Grant, which we successfully received. Also did our first hires using my tax grants. So those are wage subsidies. And successfully did the first friends and family raise. And
Oh, congrats! No, that's amazing.
yeah, that's a great amount.
Yeah.
How did that conversation with friends and family go? Like, what made them? Like, how did you convince them that this is the gold mine?
uh, good question. I was really nervous to go to the friends and family, which is another reason why I, was really felt really strongly about like cleaning
Yeah.
house before I did so. Um, I I went to my like warmest, closest friends and family who know me and believe in me, and I was like lucky enough that amongst five investors, I raised that money. And I only went to six different people, and five said yes. And to be honest, looking back at the presentation that I showed them, uh, I think they gave me a lot of credit over, uh, over my inflated projections and things like that. I shouldn't say inflated, but of course, when you're pre-revenue, everything is just an assumption, and that's what they invested in and believed in.
Yeah.
And now that I've taken that money, I would tell you that it's all the more like of a fire under me to succeed, or another reason why I can't fail.
So yeah, I think friends and family, I think is the one round where people don't look too much into figures and revenue. They invest in the person, so they're not. And I think it's a whole different way of convincing people. You don't convince people based on the business or your idea or your revenue or what it can become. They're trusting in you. They're trusting in your ability to grow the business and your ability to not falter when times are hard. So it's
Yeah.
definitely a different. I would say it's just a different way of trying to go and raise money. So that's that's cool. Are you guys thinking about any more funding rounds, or you're okay for now? You're just running on revenue and
Yeah, we cash is getting tight, and I'm starting to realize that we're going to need something to tide us through till revenue is sustainable. So probably looking into some more grant non-dilutive funding, but most likely we'll also do an extension of that friends and family to a little bit broader of a circle in the
nice.
fall. Yeah.
So kind of, I want to kind of step back into when you first started, and then, or after you pivoted, you understood what your customers wanted. You had a vision on what you wanted to build. What was, I would say, your biggest issues then versus now?
Um, Making the decision to pivot into a marketplace was terrifying because um, marketplaces marketplaces can be phenomenal businesses, but they also have a cold start problem where you've got a chicken and egg where um, it's hard to attract businesses to want to be on your platform if you don't have consumer eyeballs, but no, who wants to look at your platform if there's no products? So hence the sort of cold start issue. Uh, the way that we approached that was um, focusing on a single town as opposed to just emailing every retailer across Canada and getting one in Nova Scotia and one in Ontario and one in Alberta. Like that's not really valuable to anybody, but realizing that if we could prove the concept in a single small regional area, that then we could rinse and repeat that model. And but starting was hard. I went around and basically begged and pleaded and like offer like and it was a gradual thing from like please like just I'll buy you lunch if you'll be on my platform to like I'll do it for free to I'll do it for whatever you want to pay. um and it took a lot of when you're selling something that doesn't exist and just an idea, it just takes time. And so, yeah, it was very sort of grassroots, walking into places, dropping off letters, scrounging around. Yeah. Just getting some products and stores on the platforms so that we could then tell consumers to come check it out. And and then the whole growing the consumer audience has been really eye-opening, and it takes a lot of trial and error, and it takes time, and I don't think I appreciated completely what that was going to take, and so and we still have work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Is
think
there a
every
ridiculous growth hack that you did that actually worked? Like now you think on it and it's like joke, but it worked.
Really, what?
A ridiculous growth hack that worked, like something that you did which is unconventional, not traditional.
um I would say there's maybe two things that um, there's kind of two things that we've done that have worked kind of beyond well, and that's in the holiday season, we did a holiday gift campaign. It's not super unconventional, but we did a digital gift guide, and each retail partner got a full page feature and got to feature up to three gift ideas for holidays. And our site traffic and views of that holiday gift guide just around Cochrane like doubled from on average we get about 15,000 visits per month, and we were getting over 30 sort of in November, December. So there was we took advantage of a seasonal interest, obviously, but there are those sort of seasonal trends or things like understanding what people are interested in. And I think the other one that was kind of a surprise for me, but led to more retailer signups and a more consumer signups, is we ran a panel discussion. So, like an in person panel discussion where we had an expert from the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, the CFIB, on the panel, and then two of our retail partners, one from Big Hill Cycle, a bike shop, and the other one from Claire from Kitchen Boutique, a kitchen store, and just talk. And the panel was about what it means to buy Canadian. Again, paying attention to what people are, like what is top of mind for people and figuring out how that is relevant. Yeah, we had great attendance. There was like just a great sort of offshoot of impressions that we got on LinkedIn and social media, like leading up to and after the fact too. And even our retail partners that didn't attend all replied and said like, it's great that you're doing this. And so sometimes even it's not a digital play, but sometimes even just an in-person event is just a different way to reach people
Oh,
depending on your
that's
business.
oh, that's super interesting. So, you mentioned Canadian. So has this whole movement increased traffic? Have you seen any metrics that you can track that actually quantify how much this shop Canadian, shop local movement has brought in? Has that been good for business?
We've seen our numbers go up slightly. Usually, like every month, we've been growing our audience slightly. We didn't see a huge increase in traffic from the Buy Canadian, but we did add features in the app to identify Canadian owned stores and then also Canadian brands. And we've had a lot more in terms of user behavior on the site. We've had a lot more clicks on products and that have the Canadian flag beside it. So that's definitely showing the interest. But yeah, we didn't see like a huge audience increase spike, unfortunately.
So that's very interesting to me. So I read, I don't know if it was, maybe watched a video I read somewhere. So this was in the U.S., so not Canadian, but there was this local U.S. I don't know what he sold, but he sold some product that was made in China. So he created two separate landing pages. One where his product was 100% made in the U.S. He did all the supply chain from the U.S. Cost significantly more money because of that. His margins were lower. And then there's also one where he just had the same product from China, and when it actually came to dollar amount, like the one made in China, just obviously because it was cheaper, just significantly outperformed the one made in the US.
Still,
So
yeah.
yeah, so I think it's people in comment sections, and they all like to say that, but when it actually comes, when they
Yeah,
see two products, exact same product, yeah, exactly, when it comes to the money, it's always going to be
It's
the one that's
hard.
cheaper.
yeah.
Yeah.
My
It's
my close friend Kevin. So when we were discussing this shop local thing, what he said is, why would I pay $2 extra for the same carrot just because it grew near to me? Okay, so like it adds up every week,
Yep.
every day you do some grocery shop and you only select Canadian, it adds up and has a puts a hole in your economy, so in your personal finance. So yeah, it's good in sentiments and emotions, but in practical ways, it's unless and until we make our the Canadian products or the local products cheaper than the alternate version, it's not going to work in the long run.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's not an all or nothing solution. And this was a discussion that we had at that panel, is that it's not you're a bad person if you don't 100% buy everything made in Canada. It also doesn't, like, what does buy Canadian even really mean? I can buy a product that's made in Sweden or somewhere else that is carried by a Canadian owned shop that employs Canadian staff, you know, and that pay taxes in a Canadian neighborhood, etc. Like, so it's not totally black or white, but it's more about making informed decisions. And buying local, a lot of people do think of it as more expensive, and sometimes it is. But when you're buying brand, and this is something that is a little bit of an education for consumers too. Um, if you're buying like a true brand name um, product, there's generally a manufacturer's suggested retail price, and that is the price that's set. And it's the price you'll pay whether or not you're buying it on Amazon, or it's the price you'll pay buying it at the store down the street. And there are like regulations about that. And so sometimes the local stores, the one thing that I have noticed in the local stores is that they have a refusal to carry garbage products. And so they may not go down to the bottom price point that you might find, say, on Amazon, but there is probably a reason for that, because they've looked at it and gone, this is going to last like a day, or it's not even going to work, and then it's going to be thrown in the garbage. And so I'm not going to put people through that. I'll only bring in the more expensive one that is good quality. So anyway, I digress, but it's not an all or nothing black or white
Yeah.
solution. And a platform like Fitzba, where you can go on and check what's local, then you can compare prices. And if it's the same price and you can get it in 5 minutes down the street, then maybe that is the easier option.
It is.
No, 100%. 100%. This reminds me of, have any of you watched the show The Good Place? Uh,
No.
no, no.
I don't
Anyways,
know.
it's a show about where people die, they go to heaven or hell, and then there's the good. They call it the good place or the bad place, and
Oh.
essentially
I've heard of it, but I haven't watched it. Yeah.
essentially for the last 1,000 years, no matter how good of a person you are, you're always sent to the bad place because the actions are the butterfly effect. Because
Yeah.
even if you're trying to help someone, like it eventually becomes a bad thing somewhere along the road.
Yeah.
So just the world that we live in, nothing's black and white. It's not good or bad. So 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
And yeah, cool.
A good place. I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's. I think you'll like it. It's a funny show. It's like it's a comedy. It's
Okay.
just it's about
Cool.
these group of people who die and then they go to the good place and then they have their lives there. Anyway.
Well,
So how did you find out about platform? Like how was that? How was that introduction? What made you join? How did you join the incubator? What do you think
yeah.
of it? I know it's a lot of questions there, but
I love it. I think platform's amazing. I think that we're just so lucky to have the ecosystem that we do, and that frankly that our government, like the provincial government, has invested in tech for quite a number of years now, and the numbers are starting to show the impact, and I think that's really exciting. um, Platform Calgary is just Well, it's an unfriendly looking building. um, so I found platform when before I ever started the company or partnered with Kip, I did Startup 101 through Startup Calgary, and that sort of introduced me to the space. It's a virtual program, and then I attended the Discover program through Alberta Innovates. Um, and that's just all about like customer discovery. And then I think, oh, I know, I went to a pitch competition for Catalyzer. And I met Ines from Platform, and I was sitting in the audience and I thought to myself, like, oh, we're coming to this pitch competition. These businesses will be like pretty impressive and so far along. And they were impressive and cool ideas, but they weren't as far along as I expected. And in attending, I kind of went, oh, like we're at this stage, like we're as far along as these guys. We could also take part in this program and pitch. And so I applied for Catalyzer and did the traction program first and then velocity. And through taking the Catalyzer programs, there's of course like an introduction to sort of the different programs in the ecosystem. And there I learned about the incubator program. And I actually didn't join the last cohort of the incubator when my Catalyzer program ended, because I was like, I just need to work. Like I just need less programming, and I just need to put my head down and get some work done. But then in talking with some other founders that had gone on to do the incubator, they were just like, it's a fantastic program. It's not a ton of programming. It's not a huge time commitment, but the mentorship and the coaching and the access to resources are really phenomenal. And that kind of convinced me to have a conversation with Anna and decided that, yeah, it would be a good fit. And so far, I I really think that putting people together that are doing similar things and that whole sort of energy and vibe of the place around platform is just um, kind of magical. I When I haven't been there in a while, I sort of forget, and then I go back and I'm like, oh yeah, I got to come back here to like soak up some of this excitement and energy.
Yeah, no, for sure. I also heard that now we're on the billboard. All our
Yeah,
companies. I don't know. Jared told
Oh,
me.
really?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so I know that billboard you see when you walk in.
yeah,
We're
yeah. I've
they
We're on
updated
it?
it, so
yes,
yeah,
yeah,
we're on it. Yeah, so,
very good.
Cool.
Yeah,
I know it's exciting. It's the small things, right? Like
yeah. Small wins.
it's it's
Yeah.
stupid, but yeah, no, that's 100%. Yeah, and I find the EIR portion of incubator especially very rewarding, and being matched with someone who's done it before and
Yeah,
who's grown a business and scaled it and exited, it's invaluable. So
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm so far like really happy with it. And
Nice. Can I've always been curious, so I haven't talked to Jaren about it, but I never really. So, what exactly is your model? Do retailers pay to be on Fitzba? Is there? Do you take a cut of each purchase? How does it work?
um so today we charge a flat rate, an annual rate which you can pay annually or on a monthly plan. Regular is $9.99 a year or $100 a month.
Okay.
And originally we were going to charge a transaction fee, and there may be room for adding a transaction fee in the future. But we've got a mixed bag of storefronts. Some can take an online order and some don't have that technical like capability. Like it's not a some retailers we're connected to like that have Shopify, we can connect to their inventory live. We can send them orders direct from the Fitzba checkout to their checkout. But we also have retailers that just have a list of products and it's not live inventory and you can't check out. So we wanted something that we could include everyone. We're also we're driving a lot of in-store sales and we didn't want to compete. We didn't want to try. We sort of asked ourselves, okay, if we charge a transaction fee, what's going to stop the consumer from going, oh, blue sweaters. Oh, there's one across the street. I think I'll just walk over there and try it on and then I'll purchase it. So we're going to get cut out of that scenario. Do we want to try to like force them to check out with some kind of incentive on the app? And it was like, no, at the end of the day, our retail partners, who is ultimately who, we're trying to help, they want customers to walk into the store and make a connection. And when they come in for the blue sweater, maybe they also need a belt that then they see when they love, whatever. And so we don't want to fight with that. So let's be more, let's focus on eyeballs and impressions and driving in-store traffic, and then the online sales will just be a bonus. And so that's how we've structured it today. We offer special rates for chambers of commerce that we're doing some partnerships with. So that the Cochrane Chamber of Commerce, we're talking to the Bow Valley Chamber of Commerce and the Edmonton Chamber of Commerce. So yeah, there's some sort of perk discounts for having memberships there. But yeah, today that's the business model.
Nice. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, because then you get the retailers to just pay the upfront fee, and that covers your costs. And cool.
That includes 24/7 listing on the site, as well as the full page feature in the holiday gift guide, as well as featured products in our curated lists and some other sort of promotional aspects. You can offer special offers to our consumers, and there's sort of a suite of features, obviously, that the retailers can access through our dashboard.
Nice. And what is your long term vision? So this is a marketplace for local. Are we always going to be local, or we have? I know. Your whole tagline was before you think of Amazon, think of Fitzba or something. But do we see a world in which we go national, we go international? Do we become an Amazon competitor? Is that your vision, or are we always going to be local? Focus on small communities, things like that.
Well, so yes, the answer is we want to be the alternative to Amazon. Nothing against Amazon. We just need competition and we need small businesses in our communities. And so why not have an alternative? So the plan is to really figure out the business model, prove the concept. We're basically there. Now it's the time to rinse and repeat that business model. The one thing that I don't completely have figured out is what size communities and what kind of retail density we require. There's probably a minimum size community that we can be successful in, and we haven't sort of figured out some of those details yet. But yes, the idea is to scale. You said, or will it always be local? Well, that's the beauty, is that because you're taking your phone everywhere you go, Fitzba will always be local, whether or not you're shopping in your own neighborhood or you're on vacation in Ontario and you need a pair of sandals ASAP. You can pull it out and it's all the local, where it's local wherever you go.
Okay, cool. And you guys have
Yeah.
an app or just website, right? For now.
We have an app and a website.
Oh, okay, okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
You can download the Fitzba app from your favorite app store.
I mean, yeah. If if you want to do a little plug for all our 5 viewers that are gonna probably watch this.
Okay, no, you should
Yeah.
pitch it like you're pitching on Shark Tank.
Yeah, we should have started with that. Um,
Sorry, we can edit it and put it in front. But yeah, if you want to go ahead and just where people can find you, what you guys do,
Yeah,
just
and make it spicy.
okay, on the fly, let's try this. Oh, it says the call is going to end.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's at 10:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good. Um, well, so let me tell you guys a little story. My aunt, Shirley, passed away a couple of years ago. She was 90. But Shirley was not only my style icon, she also taught me that what we choose to bring into our homes or wear on our bodies matters, and who we buy it from matters. And as we buy more and more online, which is very convenient, we're becoming more and more disconnected from where things come from and who made them. And we really just need a balance. The problem is that specialty retailers are invisible when we go to make shopping decisions. And that's because Amazon has forever changed the way that we shop, and we make our buying decisions on our devices now. And that's where those small specialty retailers are invisible. And so imagine there was another app, but an app where you could go to one place and see all the local shops in your neighborhood and what they have in store. And that is Fitzba. Fitzba brings together the inventory data from local shops, as well as local service providers, into a single app and website so that consumers can shop their neighborhoods just like they shop Amazon. We are running our pilot in the town of Cochrane today, and we have, in fact, it's not a pilot anymore. I don't know why I said we're running our pilot. But we have proven the concept in the town of Cochrane today. We've got over 50 retailers broadcasting over 80,000 items of inventory, and already we've got over 15,000 visitors per month doing searches and browsing inventory. So we are poised to expand throughout Western Canada over the next couple of years, and then nationally. And our expectation is to be expanded into the US within the next 4 to 5 years.
Very cool. All right. Well, I don't have anything else for now, unless.
Oh, I have a question.
Oh, okay.
Okay. How you've been doing this for like a couple of years at least? So
Yep.
you're not taking a salary for yourself, I guess.
No.
That feel like not having
Really.
income every month.
Yeah, and yeah, and especially coming from I'm assuming you were pretty high paid, like product lead, product. What was your title? Lead product.
I was a different time global product manager or director of product product development.
Yeah.
And now I work just as hard, if not harder, for no salary. That's getting tough, honestly. it's this company's also self-funded, so I um, I really appreciate I really appreciate the people who've gone before us and have taken risks and created businesses, the successful ones and the failures. Like, we need people to take those risks and to try stuff, especially when you're trying to make the world a better place. And I really, truly, I know in my heart that like, I see the interest and I see it happening. It's slower than I want it to go, but I can see the wheels starting to move and the connections being made. So I feel it coming together. But I think a lot of people who are not entrepreneurs don't necessarily appreciate the stress and the risk and the waking up in the middle of the night and thinking, oh my god, um, all the uncertainty that we have to manage. And so i think I'm a pretty like, I believe in myself and I'm not going to quit. And so I can deal with no salary for a little bit longer, because I know that it's a temporary situation.
Cool. Yeah, it's always that game, right? Like how, and I know Abby recently also quit his job, went all in. So
Yeah, it's
it's
tough.
a struggle, and you gotta also give up on a lot of things that you normally would have just not thought about if you were getting a paycheck. Just buying the small stuff, or doing going on a trip, or just living your life the way you used to live. So it's definitely a change when you take that leap of faith. So,
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Being on a much reduced budget and trying to stay happy about it is sometimes a little bit tough, but
Yeah. There are always
um,
ups and downs, right? There are some bad days where I would be like, what the hell am I doing? And then go through that day, and the next day something good happens. I'm like, okay, I'm doing this for this. Okay.
yeah.
it's true. There's so many. There are highs and lows, um, and yeah, I for sure have my doubts some days and the down days. But thankfully, yeah, I find the same thing. Like, the next day is like followed by like a
Yeah,
just totally awesome, inspiring day that makes gives you hope again.
yeah,
And there always seems to be more bad days than good days. I don't know
absolutely.
about you guys, but I feel like for every three bad days I have, I get two good days.
Yeah, yeah, at least in the early days, right? It's more bad days. But I think the success is getting through all of them, and then that's where you see the light.
I agree. Yeah, but it's a challenge. Yeah, so I'm glad to be in the incubator program with you guys so we
Yeah,
can commiserate.
absolutely. And I love the like when you pitched the first time, the first day of incubator, you had a tagline says fits before Amazon. So put your app right before Amazon and check before you go on Amazon on Fitzba on your local neighborhood stores. So
That's right. Fitzba is a short name, but the spelling of it is kind of different. It's FITZBA or ZBA in
yeah,
America. Um, And yeah, the BA informally stands for before Amazon or beside Amazon. And the app
yeah,
can go right beside Amazon on your phone. So it just reminds you, like, hey, before I just go straight there and buy now because I don't know where to get this, I can just check one place and see if there's a local
yeah,
source.
absolutely.
That's our
Yeah, I love
intention.
that. Love that pitch.
I
Thanks.
mean, yeah,
Thanks.
we
I
both
forgot about
remember
that.
it, so
Yeah,
definitely got our attention.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate the time today. This was
Yeah,
fun.
no, no, thanks for your time. I know. you know.
Hope this gets
Uh,
viral.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
I hope
I
5 people listen.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, my goal again, like I don't know about Jared, but my goal is just to do something to help the ecosystem and just support founders, and hopefully, if we do get some voices and if we get
Yeah.
some ears and eyes on this, that'll be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it's the journey, like while having the journey, right? So that's what we want to, make, and not looking back in hindsight and saying, "Oh, I did this." No, I'm doing this. So
I love that. Yeah. Super cool. Well, I hope I'll come back in a year and give you an update.
yeah,
Yeah,
we
that'll
can
be
talk
great.
about hindsight. Okay, yeah, I did that.
All right, thank you,
Awesome.
Alana. Thank
Okay.
you so
Thanks,
much.
guys.
All right,
See you
bye
later. Bye.
bye. Me and Abby, we always wanted to do like content stuff, but we've just never really been good at it. But what we're good at is just, I guess, speaking. So we figured we can try and start a podcast